Fried rice is one of my favorite things to make. It's like one of the ultimate comfort foods, and it's a great place to just put all your leftovers, all the proteins you might have, whether it's chicken or beef or pork or even corned beef. Whatever you have, it works for fried rice. Everything pretty much except for tuna fish. Now the recipe that I came up with is kind of inspired by the way Benihana makes their fried rice, but it has some of my own twists too. Many of the videos that you'll see online, they always begin with a lot of cooking oil. I don't use any cooking oil, but I do use bacon. And I'll let that render, and that creates the oil that we pretty much cook in for the entire time. I do also happen to have a wok that I use on the stovetop. If you don't have a wok, that's fine. You could make this in a frying pan. You can make it in a big pot. There really are no wrong answers when it comes to what you cook it in. And there are some important keys to making it taste authentic, in my opinion, and we're going to get into that in the video. Another thing that's really important is the food prep. Make sure that everything is cut up and ready to go into the pan before you start cooking. Let's begin. Okay, so here's everything we're going to use. The protein today is going to be shrimp that we're going to cut and devein. There's the bacon we're going to cut into pieces. I've got 3 cloves of garlic, 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 1 tablespoon of which we're going to use to make our eggs in the beginning. Frozen vegetables is absolutely fine, but some vegetables give it some nice color. And then there's sesame seeds. Now here's the color of the sesame seeds I bought, and I roasted them at 350 for 5 minutes, and they turn that beautiful golden brown color. We've got some white onion that's chopped up. And then for authenticity, I love using a little bit of sesame oil with the sesame seeds. I think that brings out some wonderful flavor. And then soy sauce for both color and flavor. Finally, the rice. Now the big debate about rice is whether you need to cook it the day before and keep it in the fridge overnight so it gets to be that certain kind of feel. But you know what? I cook this rice the same day. If you use just a little bit less water than the recipe calls for, so the rice isn't overly plump and sticky, I think it'll be just fine. So over medium-high heat, we scramble up these eggs till they're just a little bit runny, not quite fully done. That's when I take them out, and we're going to add those back in later. So now we add the bacon in on medium-high to high heat and let that render down. And I let that cook for a few minutes just until it's not quite fully done bacon. It's still a little underdone. And that's when I go ahead and add the shrimp in. And then we kind of do the same thing. We let that shrimp cook until it's almost completely done. And that's when we start adding in some of the vegetables. And now we're going to add the vegetables, beginning with the onion and the garlic. Now you can actually take the protein out of the pan if you want and let the vegetables cook in the bacon grease that is there, but I go ahead and just leave it all in. I'm going to add the garlic here now, and we're going to stir that up and let that cook for a little bit as well. Next, we're going to add the mixed vegetables, which were frozen to begin with, so we're going to let that cook up a little bit before we add our rice. After the rice goes in, we're also going to add 1 tablespoon of the unsalted butter to help the cooking process along, and we're going to stir it up really good. Next, we're going to add about 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. This is a secret ingredient that I love, but don't add too much because it's so flavorful it can overpower the dish. We're also going to add a little more than 1 tablespoon of soy sauce to give it that beautiful color as well as enhance the flavor. Now finally, my favorite part, putting in those beautiful roasted sesame seeds that give it such a great flavor. We're also going to fold the egg back into it, and then it's going to be a matter of cooking it on high heat, stirring it often, flipping it over if you can. Now, if you don't have angled sides to your pan, you can always just reach in with your utensil and turn it over, and that's it. Add as much or as little soy sauce or salt if you want to taste, and you're done, baby. That's some good stuff right there. Boy, this sure looks good to me. I can't wait to get it on a plate. What I like to do is plate it up with a little sriracha mayo or some yum yum sauce. I have a little squeeze bottle. I just throw it on top like this. And by the way, if you ever make a cooking video, be sure to get your big hairy arm in the frame as you're plating up your food. That makes a great impact. Now, it's been our pleasure to bring this to you. I really love making this. I hope you try it and make it and that you love it. If you do, please let me know how it turns out for you. Would love to hear from you. And as always, have a great day and enjoy.